being debated right now. So that's, you bug out, I just bugged out the guy, if you see, right? He just attacks, he doesn't heal. Interesting thing for him to do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised he came here. Did he somehow see me? Most people creep this. Man, that's so fast that he crept that actually. Not gonna lie. Man, he was fast, dude. Most people actually like creep this. They don't even come here right away, because that's pretty dangerous of a camp. Yeah, I thought I was being sneaky by doing that. Not as sneaky as I thought, man. That ring, I should have just used a salve and broken it and taken it. I don't like what I did there, honestly. I don't like how, like, I gave that ring to him. Because that's a pretty big deal, honestly, in the bigger scheme of things, right? Though I legitimately thought that he actually had that many hunts. I didn't realize that those were illusions, dude, and that allowed him to do so much damage to my actual units and heroes. I think I should have just focused his Naga. Once I killed one of the illusions, I knew it was illusions. Well, I honestly thought those are all hunts. So I was focusing the hunts, but they weren't even his hunts. I feel like I should go for some sort of all-in. Because I feel like I don't think he has moonwalls. I feel like if I just go at him right now, I think I just win. Man, dude, those illusions ruined me, dude. I honestly thought it was that many hunts. Oh shit. Good game, dude. I don't have it? Yeah, I already read that. It's alright, dude. Shit happens. I played versus this guy yesterday. I think I lost. I don't think I did too good. Your stats were on play. I didn't play well, dude. I thought that, dude, I was trying to do the thing where I like went there, took that, and then went back bottom and crept, but it's not fast enough. You're like, it's way too fast where the Night Elves actually are able to creep that Merc camp and then come over there. I thought I'd be able to get away with it, but you can't. It's better if I actually creep my bottom, dude. I needed to creep my bottom and just get level 2, like you prepped your side. But I thought that I could get away with it, but I couldn't. That's like just a game-losing play. Like, you're not going to come back from that. That also kind of owned me really hard because I didn't realize there were illusions. Like, that was rough, dude. When I realized there were illusions, like, I just felt like, it felt bad, dude. Because I had taken so much damage on my units and stuff already. I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like getting Hex is bad, dude, in general. Like, it's good for the early game, but it's really bad for mid and late game. Dude, Monster Hands, you're never here, dude. I've been streaming Warcraft 3 every day. You're just never here. Dude, I have a new promo just for you, Monster Hands. Just for you. Because you actually need it, Monster Hands. It's a promo just for you, man. I could change your life, Monster Hands. One sub, and I'll do replay analysis. It'll change your life. Forever. What say you? What say you? Huh? What say you, Monster Hands? I know you need it, man. I could even do life lessons, man. Life lessons as well. You out training? What the hell are you training? You ain't training shit. Alright? The only training you need is from me, okay? This run's going down, dude. He can have the item. I want the grunt.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I'm following up on the PewDiePie donation story that I started over on my Midwestly channel yesterday in a decently popular video. I will also link to that in the description below. Make sure you follow on that channel if you want more general news type stories, as opposed to, I mostly cover pop culture here, videos, video games, and movies. I cover a wider variety of things on Midwestly, and that channel's doing pretty good. Also, I will be rolling out a new notification system probably tomorrow, where people will be able to opt in and get their mobile notifications, and will go around the YouTube system. So that'll be free for people who want to do that, just as an update. So, 30,000 foot view, PewDiePie hits 100 million subscribers. Very cool, right? Most creators would love to have 1/100th of that. And many creators can make a full-time living with just 100,000 subscribers. So the idea to have 100 million is insanity. It's unfathomable. It's a creation, a landmark, that PewDiePie hit, Felix, that is amazing. It should be celebrated. Now, in a long video, a video where he unboxes a custom 100 million subscriber award from YouTube, Felix dedicates but 8 seconds in a many-minute long video to mention almost in passing that he has donated 50K to the ADL. Now, I'm not going to go into a long explanation of who the ADL is and what their history is and things like that. You can watch my video on Midwestly if you're curious. But the long and the short of it is they have a serious, long, and verifiable history of not only demanding deplatforming of creators they don't like, but also deplatforming PewDiePie himself. Now, this has spawned a lot of conspiracy theories about what's going on with this. Is he getting blackmailed? What's going on? And not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I told people yesterday, people reacted to my original video saying, "Oh, dude, he's just trolling, man. You're overreacting." No, I knew when he said he donated the money that he wasn't kidding, because he can't afford to kid about that sort of thing. So it spawned a lot of ideas of, well, what do they have on him? Have they come to some sort of truce? Because I think it's bizarre that the ADL would essentially take money from somebody that they've classified as one of the bad guys from WW2. The whole thing is disgusting. The ADL exists to basically shake down people that have money and influence through shaming and They're just like basically Al Sharpton in that manner, in my opinion. They do almost no good. But it's curious when we look at the timeline of how things have changed between PewDiePie and YouTube, and it all goes back, I believe, to the New Zealand incident. If we look at that as a diversion point for PewDiePie, I think it profoundly affected him. And I guess it's hard to imagine how people would react if somebody yelled their name before doing what that guy did. If you look at, PewDiePie and YouTube have always had basically a contentious relationship, and now magically, PewDiePie is #1 trending all the time. It was a meme for years that regardless of views PewDiePie would get, he would never be on the trending page, which we know is manually curated. We've seen YouTube publicly mention him, publicly thank him. Married to Marziapie, revived our love of Minecraft. Huge. You would never have seen this post 6 months ago from YouTube. I don't believe that that is that hard to endorse. You would never have seen YouTube publicly acknowledging PewDiePie 6 months ago. You see him donating money to an organization that literally was pivotal in him losing his show on Disney, his Scare PewDiePie show, saying, the ADL commends Disney's decision to sever ties with PewDiePie following his posting of videos on YouTube that contain things we don't like, including an image of things we don't like, comedy we didn't think is funny. This clearly crosses the line, but it's becoming all too commonplace on social media. In the past few months, we've seen a proliferation of similar words we don't like and memes we don't like. PewDiePie is entitled to his brand of humor, but neither Disney nor any other company has an obligation to support his wide dissemination of words we don't like. Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO of the ADL. This is a man that just cashed a check for $50,000. I can't think of a more obvious hypocrisy, a more disgustingly greedy display. This is an organization that is supposedly, fighting bad things, but they're taking money from the very people that they supposedly don't like. I wonder why. It's about money. It always has been with the ADL, and it always will be. All right, just like all these other leagues and associations, they don't really care. This is a shakedown, absolutely. Now, whether they demanded it and had some sort of dirt on him, I don't necessarily believe. I believe we look at, Hanlon's razor or whatever. Don't describe malice with what can be described as, basically a mistake or, whatever the case may be. I think PewDiePie was affected deeply by the things that happened in NZ. And I think that began a change for him. We also look at PewDiePie is probably having his biggest month ever. And also, financially, he's even alluded to it. Ever since he started streaming Minecraft, the last couple of months have been ridiculous. 565 million views. Almost 600 million views last month. Now, I'm super happy for him. Super happy. Get that money. You should. And his channel growth is insane. 50 to 100,000 subscribers every day. But look at the timeline. The thing happens, then he ends his subscribe to PewDiePie thing. He all of a sudden is on good terms with YouTube. YouTube is tweeting out about him. He's donating 50 grand to the ADL. None of this stuff makes sense. He puts out a post. And by the way, people are saying that many of their comments are being deleted on his latest video. There are some weird things going on with that video. I can't confirm or deny if comments are being deleted, but there's something weird going on in that comment section. He has it set to newest first, but I've seen a couple people do video tests of it, and their comments stay. And whatever the top comment is seems to be getting buried. So maybe if you left a comment on there, check your YouTube history and see if it's still there before saying for sure it's gone, because there's something weird going on with that comment section. People are saying that the ADL are deleting comments. I mean, I don't know how they would have that control over his channel. That seems really unlikely. I think we have to stick to the facts here. And as a huge fan of PewDiePie, search my channel. You know, a lot of the hardcore fandom, in particular his subreddit, you know, really were aggressively pushing back against my video yesterday and coming after me on Twitter. I don't think that that's reasonable. I mean, if you look at my channel, I've backed the guy, you know, unwaveringly for years across multiple channels. This is just who he is now, I believe. And I believe that he doesn't care about 50 grand. Why would he? He makes that every day of the week, probably. He doesn't care. You know, he probably got 100 grand from Honey to do that commercial. So the money was never even in his pocket. He donated it to the ADL. Nobody understands that. And I get that you might argue, well, geez, nobody's happy with, you know, every time he donates money somewhere, people are unhappy about it. True. That's a valid point. However, none of his charities have actively tried to destroy YouTubers' livelihoods. None of those charities have kept lists of YouTube channels that they publicly want to have deplatformed that YouTube ultimately acted on. Let's look at his reply today. Misrepresenting headlines of me have led me down a path of twists with the MSM for years now. Previously, it hasn't bothered me much. I know who I am. But after New Zealand, a few months ago, my own clash with the MSM was manipulated as a tool for bad. I'm not okay with the situation any longer, and I felt the responsibility to make changes. Making a donation to the ADL doesn't make sense to everyone, especially since they've outright spoken against me. I wanted to show publicly that I can move past it and move on. I think that's important. This just isn't my fight anymore. I think he's saying a lot here. I think he's saying, I'm done with the culture stuff. I'm done, you know, reviewing books by Jordan Peterson or having Shapiro on my show. I think he's just bowing out. I think it's taking a toll on him, and it takes a toll on all of us. I mean, look what's happening to my hair. It's thinning out as fast as I can, you know, shockingly fast. I think that, you know, just playing Minecraft, I think he's realizing that he's just happy now. And this is some sort of hush money, I think. And I think the reason people reacted so emotionally is that if you're like me and you're like many of the people who were emotionally involved in the subscribe to PewDiePie and helping him and standing up for him, this seems like he's just turning cold and that he's saying, you know what, I'm checking out, and we feel abandoned, I think. And if PewDiePie doesn't understand that, hopefully, you know, I'm sure he watches all my videos, you know, I think that that event changed him, and in the last, you know, year, he's gotten married. He started just playing Minecraft again. On top of that, he's making more money than he's ever made. Also, look at who Minecraft is owned by and their policies around kind of this social justice stuff in the video game world. You know, maybe Minecraft is applying pressure to him, saying, look, we don't want you playing our game. If you have a bad reputation, you're basically the face of Minecraft now, and you know, we'll ban you if you don't. I mean, there's any number of pressures that PewDiePie has probably faced in the video game world and with mainstream media, and he's just making too much money to care. Can I fault him for it? Yes, of course I can. But I think that he's his own man. It's his own money. It's his own business, and he's welcome to do with it what he wants. But you have great tweets like Tim here saying, I'm pretty sure he probably did a video on this today, but I'm getting mine done first without trying to be, you know, influenced by other people. The ADL has caused collateral damage to tens of thousands of small creators' livelihoods. PewDiePie is not being the bigger man here. He's taking a payday on a milestone he reached thanks to the YouTube community. He then funds an organization that will get people in that community banned. He's 100% right. He's 100% right. And, you know, he's not getting the positive press that he probably thought he might. If you look at a lot of these articles, you know, here's one on The Verge, which we know is definitely someone that would probably agree with the ADL. you know, making the, so they're talking about a statement. Schellberg has oftentimes been steeped in controversy for using language we don't like or imagery we don't like. After paying two men on Fiverr to do something we didn't think was funny, notice how I'm just translating. I'm not using their words for jokes. They're just jokes that they didn't like. Disney severed ties with them. I mean, everybody's saying exactly what we've seen, you know? Earlier this year, the subscribe to PewDiePie meme was going on, and then obviously everything happened at the end of the meme. His decision to support the ADL with his donation marks one of his first public moves to take responsibility as a hugely popular, influential creator. I don't agree with this. This is a controlling term. This is a term that we see all the time. It's like, you're popular, so you have to do our bidding, by the way. It's not about an overall responsibility. It's about the right message. It's about what the video games community wants you to say. It's what the mainstream media wants you to say. And if you don't say it, it's well, he's using his platform for things we don't like. You don't have not one iota of responsibility as a content creator other than to entertain your viewers. The implication of anything more is nefarious, and you should be questioning their motives. For years, Schellberg and YouTube's relationship has been rocky, but soon after he became the first independent, even The Verge gets it. The two became more amicable, with YouTube sending him a play button. In Tuesday's video, Schellberg first announces his donation, but he does not address anything specifically, saying, "I've made a lot of mistakes on the way, but I've grown." He continued, I feel I finally come to terms with my responsibility as a creator. This is him bowing out of the culture battle. A decision I completely understand, but that's what it is. And you see The Verge. About 100 million subs too late, but you know. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These clowns are never happy. They write this whole article talking about it, but guess what? PewDiePie, they don't like you still. They're never going to like you. And $50,000, all that's going to do is continue to fund an organization that hurts smaller creators. You have, after years of hard work, he's first make 100 million. You know, it was the very same ADL that famously tried to shut down his channel in 2016 by sending clips of his content to then sponsor Disney. I mean, are you joking? Because of his history with the organization, fans were surprised at his decision, which has pushed for stricter quarantine of words we don't like on platforms. His Reddit is really bizarre right now. They're so, I don't know. It's like, when you have 100 million subscribers, you have people of all walks of life. But his subreddit is basically in lockdown mode right now. I don't believe that. You know, PewDiePie's editor, by the way, I sent Saib a DM, asked fans to stop calling the complaints a conspiracy theory, instead just congratulating him on reaching 100 million subscribers. The French nut said that it was still weird how many comments are being deleted, and they are set to newest first. The YouTube video currently has 230,000 comments at the time already, but a large portion of the top comments are no longer there. While the fans' outrage isn't directed at Pewds himself, some feel disappointment at the choice to donate to the ADL. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. I think most of us that backed him back then are disappointed that he would turn around and give them money. I think it's difficult to understand how this affects a man, but if you look at the decisions PewDiePie has made in the wake of that event, it all comes together. I think he's just done. I think this type of participation has a toll on people. Look what it's doing to my hairline. It's just unending stress, and you can't fault a guy for just wanting to bow out. It's at least understandable, but this was on purpose. This was very disappointing. You know, he could have donated money literally anywhere else. I don't think anyone cares. But the ADL is just a bridge too far, and I don't blame people for leaving him, feeling betrayed, and unsubscribing, because I certainly don't feel that great about supporting him anymore either. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, before you leave,
It's finally time. WoW 2.0, what Blizzard must do and how it will happen. Save modern WoW. That's the thumbnail right there. Minimize this. It's finally time. WoW 2.0, what Blizzard must do and how it will happen. Save modern WoW. That's the thumbnail right there. Minimize this.
Over my 5 years covering World of Warcraft, this is one of the most requested topics. I'm pretty sure it's because WoW, in trying to please so many people, has pretty much always ended up displeasing others, making the idea of a fresh slate very appealing for many. Perhaps it's the allure of reliving the good old days, starting afresh in a version of the world that's different from what people know. Well, I think WoW 2.0 will happen, but I don't think it's going to happen in the way that many people will want it to happen. You see, I think you could say that WoW 2 has already happened before many times. I wouldn't be surprised if we were on the precipice of it happening again.
So I think that what he's going to say is he's going to say that WoW 2 started in Cataclysm. What do you guys think about that? WoW 2 started in Cataclysm?
Started in the Burning Crusade.
That is it too loud? I'll turn it down a slight bit. I can see where it's coming from. I think that if anything, WoW 3 started in Legion.
It's like how you are on the precipice of checking out the Drop.com X Sennheiser PC37X through today's sponsor, Drop.com, formerly known as Massdrop. The PC37X is the best value gaming headset that I've seen thus far, especially because my link gives you $30 off its already incredible price. They are super comfortable over ears with zero sweat earpads,
these are actually really nice.
Ideal clamping force and
these
low
are
weight,
actually really
making
these are
them fantastic for long gaming sessions. Their built-in mic is also brilliant with fantastic articulation and sound quality, plus a feature that I really love, it actually auto-mutes when moved into the upright position. There's also a hardware-level audio slider on the right cup, which is perfect for when you don't want to fiddle around with the Windows mixer.
Well, wait a minute, okay? Like, y'all talk shit about the audio quality, etc. Listen to this shit, okay? It's a built-in fucking mic. Every built-in mic sucks a little bit of dick, alright? It's a headset built-in mic. It is not ideal. Sennheiser they're a very, very high-end, like, sound, like, they make headphones, they make sound systems, right? Sennheiser does stuff like that. They don't make mics, as far as I know, okay? I don't know how to say it, okay? But it's basically the same headset that I have. They make incredible products. This headset, here's what you want in a headset. You want a headset that makes you think that you're not wearing a headset.
Sennheiser, you can be darn sure the audio quality punches well above its weight too, making these fantastic both for gaming and for music. So, I personally recommend the PC37X, available only in Drop.com. It's one of the most popular purchases on the site with over 10k purchases and an almost 5-star review score. Plus, you'll score $30 off with my link. Thank you very much, Drop.com, for supporting our team, and let's get into the video. WoW's history, I really think, is in 3 eras, with one identity crisis. The original era began in vanilla, lasted through the Burning Crusade, and met its end in very early Wrath. An expansion that started off essentially being a very easy version of an older style of game, but over the patches became the foundation for World of Warcraft's second era. This era was defined by bring the player, not the class, of changing boss designs, of new formats for world content and player progression, lasting through the end of Wrath into the Cataclysm before hitting its peak in Mists of Pandaria.
Okay.
And then we've got the identity crisis. From that crisis, we got the new direction of Legion, from which Blizzard stumbled into Battle for Azeroth. And if you compare the prime versions of each era of Warcraft, you can see how they're distinct games. The original era as compared to Mists of Pandaria as compared to Legion. On the surface, they're all World of Warcraft, but anyone who has played all of them can tell you that they are very different games indeed. And if you're looking for WoW 2 to happen, this is how it's going to happen. And this is not going to be satisfying for some who would want...
Well, of course not. Right? This is the Grizzly Hills Unreal Engine thing. I know exactly what he's showing here. So here's an example, and I even said this whenever I was looking at I made a video back in the day, back whenever I actually made content and didn't just watch other people's content. I made a video about Antorus, and I said that whenever I went to the Burning Throne, I felt like I walked into WoW 2. Like the fidelity of the Burning Throne, like not the Burning Throne, like the raid, but like, you know, whenever you teleport in and you have like that long hallway and like Agrimar's on the other side of the hallway? Whenever I teleported in and I saw that, I was like, holy fuck, this is really, really good. And like just the way that it was designed, the fidelity of the of like the structures and everything, the entire thing just looked incredible. So I know exactly what Bellier was talking about here.
WoW 2, a fresh game engine game, totally new start.
Yeah.
After all, those Unreal Engine remakes of old zones have done so well on the internet, right? Well, that's because they're old zones. In terms of artistic cohesion, the Battle for Azeroth zones do blow them out of the water. The use of a cinematic camera in those videos and the nostalgic music is actually what's doing most of the work, plus some pretty nice lighting. Graphically, WoW is doing very well with its world. Indeed, it's a timeless art style. Just look at how good WoW stands up to other MMOs who have tried to go for more photorealistic visuals.
Yep.
You see, when you examine WoW's problems, it's not the visuals, it's not really those engine limitations, it's the design, it's the execution of their ideas. That's been the case for all of the good and all of the bad of the last decade. A new engine won't fix those problems. And yes, I understand why many want that new engine, but a part of that is a lack of understanding. Many do view engines as being just a single thing, and that's not the case, as evidenced by their new animation system, their new lighting system, and many of the other improvements that we've seen. An engine...
I really like Bellier's take on this, because he's looking at it from, like Bellier, you know, he went to college for game design. Like, he understands game design on like an actual level, right? It's not like he's, you know, like, oh, he's like me, right? I played video games a long time. I have a lot of opinions on it, right? I think that he actually understands what game design is. He's made games before, and he has like a game development company. So whenever he's saying the things that he's saying, I think that it means a lot more because he's looking at it from a broader context of just what looks cool. And I agree with what he's saying. This is what I was talking about yesterday, is that do people really want a WoW that looks like this? This is obviously Saudian's farm over in Westfall, I believe. Do we want something like this? I think that what people really want is they want a game that makes them feel the way that vanilla WoW made them feel. I do, however, feel like Blizzard needs to completely flip the board. I do disagree with Bellier on the idea that WoW can transition into WoW 2. I don't think that can happen unless they have basically an apocalypse event. Like more than Shadowlands where everybody's undead and then they can just come back to life later on. I mean, just like a complete, like everybody's dead, everything's wiped out, everything moves forward 50, 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, and then everything happens afterwards, right? Time travel, yes.
Is really a bundle of different systems. If anything, WoW's problem is that some of those systems are very new and look great, but other ones are old and don't look as good, and Blizzard need to polish them up. I'll say this.
And whenever I say time travel, I don't mean, oh, let's Back to the Future this shit, right? Or like WoD or whatever. I mean travel forward in time to a period of time. Sorry, I should not use that phrase. But yeah, that's what I mean to say.
Character customization in WoW, it's one of the worst parts of the game, and they absolutely need to develop their tech further.
Big day.
But on the systems point, a quick example from our own studio. We're currently working in the Unity engine, but we've developed all of our own systems for things like dynamic water flowing and dynamic lighting.
Oh, it's like mine.
Those are things that are beyond what the engine can do by itself. And it does not require a new engine refresh to do those things. You just need to make the systems. And that's kind of the point. the WoW engine really is just binding together a bunch of systems. Porting WoW over to Unreal 4 is not magically going to get you the WoW did you know, but with incredible graphics, because that's simply not how those things work. The most basic form of my point is this: the game that you play is not the graphics, and it does not seem like the mechanics of the engine are holding WoW back that greatly. WoW character movement is responsive. Inputs are responsive, more so than most other MMOs. If Blizzard developed WoW 2...
That's one of the things I want to say this right now. Like, Blizzard games, one thing that they do such a good job at is making the game feel responsive and smooth. Like, if you play a Blizzard game, you know that because they're responsive and smooth. And that's why one of the reasons why people are so fucking pissed off about Diablo 3 is it was not responsive and smooth. It was not at all, not on release. But WoW is extremely responsive, extremely smooth. Same with Overwatch, same with Heroes of the Storm, Omega Wall, whatever, StarCraft, same fucking thing. And it is very, very, very responsive and smooth. And spell batching, they're trying to recreate something, so it's different.
Engine with incredible rendering technology, what would still matter would be the quality of the game.
Yeah.
And that is dictated by its systems and by its design, not how shiny it is. Those are the things that matter, and they don't require a new game engine. And that's why we need to talk about the next big version of World of Warcraft. The level squish is the perfect jumping off point to discuss this topic. While a Blizzard developer has not confirmed to us that it will happen, Ian Hazzikostas, of course, project director for WoW, he did float the idea, and then an official Blizzard survey did say it was coming in the next expansion. So what better way to kick off a new era of the game than to do a level squish? What better way to do a level squish than to also revamp how players interact with the world? And
here's what I think they should do. I think that they put way too much work into the zones nowadays. Look at Vanilla. Look at Burning Crusade. The zones are so basic. Instead of Blizzard making 5 really well polished, perfectly clean zones, make 20 Vanilla WoW zones. Make 50 of those. I'd rather have 20 or 50 of those. I don't care about the quality. I care about the quantity. We need more content for players to do. 50 pieces of garbage? Oh no, I don't want that, I don't want that. These are the same fucking people that are talking about how great, fucking Elwyn Forest was and all these other old zones. It's not about how intricate and how, the fidelity of the rocks. How many pixels the rocks have. No, that's not what a good game is. It's not about how good, oh wow, the water looks so good. Oh my god, it's like it's real. And then you turn off the game because it's fucking boring. The fact is, they need to make more content and not better content in terms of graphics. We just need more content. More content.
I think this is something that could happen. Fundamentally, I think this would be key to any push for a WoW v2 that actually feels like it to players. Azeroth has become stale. It's no longer that vibrant, expansive world that everyone was immersed in back in the day. Nothing happens outside of the current continent, and even the current continent is pretty static as compared to other virtual worlds in the market.
Yep.
WoW is north of 100 million lifetime accounts, likely far more than that by now, and the vast majority of those accounts are not active.
100 million.
What would get them playing? Well, I think being convinced that they can experience Azeroth in you. So first is level squish, something that we're fairly sure is actually happening. This could take us all the way back to level 60 being endgame, with our BFA characters being level 50. Is that all though? No. I think Blizzard would have to do more than just a level squish. They'd have to change the world. Now the first way to do that is systems. Having zone-wide events, using the smart NPCs of islands, bonus objectives, perhaps multi-staged events like with what we saw in Guild Wars 2. Essentially, a massive change to zones from a systemic perspective. Ideally one that would make them a lot less static. And with those systemic changes locked in,
They need to do that. It's very true. There's also, the problem what Bellier was talking about, how, the entire game revolves around the in-game continent. Completely true. Blizzard realizes this is a problem. It's obvious that Blizzard realizes this is a problem because they keep revamping old zones to get people to go back to Azeroth. So I think it's very clear that Blizzard knows this is a problem, and by the time that we get through the next expansion, over half of Azeroth, the current Azeroth, is going to be revamped again. And I'm okay with that, by the way. I'm completely okay with that. Because now they have the technology to allow people to go back and forth, and I want people to experience the game, and I don't want Blizzard, now that Classic WoW is out, I want Blizzard to feel like Classic WoW, that's your safety net. So before, Blizzard probably didn't want to make a lot of changes to the game because it would alter the nostalgia that people had for the game. But now, because Classic WoW is out, if people want the nostalgia for the game, they can re-experience that exact same nostalgia. So, go fucking wild. Do something insane. Like, do something that nobody would have expected. Kill the game or make it great again. One way or another. I think they should do something that's amazing.
Would try their hand at a Cataclysm-like revamp. It could be under the guise of N'Zoth rising up the Black Empire, or it could be very different. It could be a zone revamp to the point just after Battle for Azeroth. This would allow them to flesh out the zones, to have them not be homogenized under the same overarching expansion plotline like with what we saw with Cataclysm, and they could avoid the main leveling content be so tied to a specific expansion like the Cata timeline problem.
Yep.
And I'm light in specifics here because the point is that this is what would signal a new era for WoW. This is the massive change that would grab headlines, that would get people talking about WoW again and potentially bring them back in the millions.
Yes.
Nailing this would likely get general audiences a lot more excited than just hearing, oh, World of Warcraft's going to have 5 zones, some dungeons, and a new raid, and that'll happen in the game. You can pay $60 for it. I think it would get people more hyped than that. So,
That's like the expansion, like that's what every expansion is. Like BFA, it came out, I was like, okay, so we're doing this one again. I'm addicted, I'm going to keep playing. But I'm going to complain about it. You know, that's the truth, right? And yeah, here's shit. Here we go again. And it's like, alright, whatever. Blizzard, the next expansion Blizzard brings out. I think they know this. They need to do something fucking crazy. Like, if the next expansion comes out, and it's like Shadowlands, like whatever, you know, new content, basically. I think people are just going to be like, okay, whatever, you know, keep playing, it's fine. But they do need to do something crazy. The problem with WoW right now is there's too many rewards in the game. It devalues all the rewards in the game. There's just so many of them. It's like, imagine, like, would it be cool if we could, like, in Classic WoW, like, if you see somebody on a cool mount, it stands out. Like, if I saw somebody over here in Ironforge, and they were riding on, like, the Rivendare's Death Charger, I can guarantee you there would be a circle of people around them. Oh my god, what the fuck, this guy's Rivendare's Death Charger, oh my god, what the hell is he so good? Right? They'd be so fucking crazy. They'd be taking screenshots next to them. There'd be probably articles written about this. Like, this would be like a massive, big fucking deal. Why is that a big deal? Because there's not a million other epic mounts. If you saw Rivendare's Death Charger and Ashes of Alar, and then next to that there's a Gladiator Drake, and then next to that one there's a goat from Pandaria, then next to the goat from Pandaria there's this new fucking PvP mount that you're able to get from World Quests. Like, all of the mounts are really cool, and nobody cares about any of them. You should make sure that if you have, like, Blizzard is just trying to one-up themselves every expansion with mounts and everything. And the problem is that you hit the ceiling with that in terms of people's appeal to different things, right? Like, for me, I like Scourge-themed and, like, Undead-themed mounts, right? That's always been, like, the main core thing about WoW that I've liked. So, Blizzard, what they need to do is they need to find a way to erase somebody's collection and then still make them not hate themselves for doing it. Hate Blizzard for doing it. They need to find a way to erase everybody's shit. And this is from me. From me. They need to erase everybody's shit. One way or another.
That's our literal World of Warcraft V2 covered. Well, I suppose V3 with Cataclysm. But here's the thing, right? It would not do much if we were just dealing with more of the same, and we had a nice little squish, and it was just the World of Warcraft that you knew. So we must ask ourselves, what would WoW 2, as an ideal, mean for the rest of the game? Well, first, the whole world would have to matter for our max level characters. Now, this could be tied into important reputations that are continuously updated with new rewards that span the world.
I'm actually okay with some zones not being relevant at max level. For example, like whenever you're max level in vanilla WoW, there's nothing that's relevant for you to do in Dead Mines. Dead Mines is done. I think being able to finish content is okay, but I think expansions actively removing all of the other content that's not part of that expansion is not okay.
Should be dealing with multiplayer events, as well as some smaller ones that would interest a solo player in the world.
Yep.
But it's very important that we don't just get Azeroth, but with world quests everywhere. Blizzard need to work out how to put a sandbox into that theme park, and the world is the ideal place to do that.
Yep.
But what about gameplay here? Specifically the classes. Well, this is going to be a bit more challenging. Broadly, classes should have more abilities and should have the spec be a flavour of the class and not essentially be its own class. Blizzard have went in the direction of making 36 classes for the game, which does have its pros in them having a very defined style and being very pick up and play, but also cons in terms of player expression. So is it worth...
It's also a con because if you're a fire mage and you switch to Frost, you still know what half the abilities do. It's like if nowadays, if you do it like in Classic, you're able to do that. In Classic, it's like if you're a fire mage, you switch to Frost, it's like, what the fuck is all this blue shit? You have no idea. It's totally different.
Sacrificing that tight gameplay design in return for player freedom. In some genres, the answer is yes. In others, it's no. And I think MMORPGs are a genre where the answer is, more often than not, player freedom is good. Beyond the core rotation, you should have more niche abilities, especially ones that interact with the world and other characters in a way that is unique to your class. Now, talents are a bit tricky here, as I do think that Blizzard have mostly done a good job of providing you with interesting choices with the current system. Just maybe not interesting progression. So perhaps what they...
Talents are great. The talents are great. The problem is that they're only relevant at max level. Blizzard wants to fix the talent system, add the talents that are in Vanilla WoW back into the game, and then keep the talents that are currently in the game as well. Have two different levels of talents. Have your max level traits and your leveling up talents.
He could do is keep the current talents, but add in class-based skill trees. Maybe
wow, what a great idea!
Or just another smaller class-based
talent. What a great idea!
Rows in the existing talents.
I totally agree.
To earn, which would be nice. I would also give people more of that hybrid fantasy, and it would also retain class identity while still having strongly defined specs. And then at the end game, I've got to admit, I do kind of like the Age of Darkness Essence system sort of vaguely. Now, that's also just known as glyphs from back in the day. So, yeah, spruce those up, and you've got some pretty darn good endgame customization. Now, as for an infinite leveling system, I do think the next era of WoW will feature that. But I do think the Blizzard will try to divorce it from your character's throughput. You see, I don't like how AP grinds have been at the core of recent expansions. This is World of Warcraft, this is not Diablo, and they would do well to remember that more. That said,
True! Let me say that again. True.
Ever refilling endgame XP bar could work out quite well. Now, I've talked in the past about the Guild Wars 2 mastery system a lot, and for good reason. I
disagree, personally. I feel like ever-filling experience bars work in some ways like Paragon reputations, but I don't think they work as character power progression because it rewards people that know life the game, and it creates a system where players always feel like they're behind and they're losing time by not playing the game. I think one of the good things about Vanilla WoW all the way up into like maybe like WoD or something, even like Legion, is that you could be done with everything for the week. You could be done with everything for the week. And I think that the finality and having an endpoint, for me personally, this is like, you know, I'm a completionist type player. I feel that if there's no endpoint for me to reach, I don't have the same motivation to begin.
It's mostly non-power based progression. Instead, it's focused on other aspects of your character. That game's most recent expansion has 8 different mount families, and each one has its own skill tree.
That's awesome.
So through these masteries, your
I love that.
can have its
That's
dismount
awesome.
ability be stronger, it can have it suck in enemies, it can make it jump further, and it can have it augment other mounts. Your Griffin can save you from falling, it can swoop down on enemies, and it can have a speed boost. The game's glider has similar masteries, but there's so much more than that, with masteries also relating to traversal in new zones, unlocking new secrets, new activities, and far more. And this mastery system has allowed ArenaNet to quite easily add on new mastery tracks, new little skill trees with content updates, giving players very, very good, consistent ways to progress their character.
This is great. This is amazing. Like, have you ever wondered why there are all these random fucking items that you have to... Oh, well, there's an achievement for you to click all the scrolls of the Tortolan around Pandaria, and you have to go over there and click all 10 of them. If you do them all, you get a 10 points in your achievements. You know, and why is that not tied to something like this? Why is it not tied to something like I'm there? Blizzard is so hyper-focused on balance and everything like that, that this game, I can guarantee you, Guild Wars at the highest level, if it was played on a competitive level like WoW, would be completely imbalanced. And it doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because the game is fun. Classic WoW is fun. Everybody playing Classic WoW knows. Everybody that rolls a Moonkin, they know. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be as good as a mage, right? They're not going to be as good as a mage. That's okay, right? That's completely fucking fine. And they still play it because it's what they enjoy and it's what's fun. I think Classic WoW serves as an example and proof that balance in a game does not make the game good. You don't have to have balance for a game to be good. Perfect balance. You want to have some degree of balance, but not perfect balance.
And this is all in one system that people understand. Learning things like this on an account-wide basis, to me, would be so much more enjoyable than just grinding out another Concordance rank or getting 3% more stamina. I mean, seriously, check out the masteries. Guild Wars 2 is not ideal, but that is one of the things they've done really well. So, masteries, a new direction for classes, spruce up talents, and endgame gameplay customization that pretty much just amounts to a larger version of glyphs. I think that would be far, far more motivating than the game's current character progression. Past that though, let's scrap mount equipment and maybe give the mounts unique traits on a per-family basis. Let's add some tintable gear to the game. Let's bring back sets. Let's go with the first crafting, and a bunch of other things like that. I actually think that sometimes WoW 2 should feel a little bit broken. It's a virtual world. Players should be able to have fun and express themselves. So basically, you know the fun police? Just send them into retirement. So, a new world, far better character progression and better player expression. But you know what, speaking of player expression, houses. I mean, come on, what good is your big dick DPS if you don't have a big dick mansion to back up that DPS with? And seriously, player housing does not need to have gameplay tied into it, as Blizzard tried to do with their ill-fated garrisons. It just needs to be a totem to the player's achievement, something they can customize, something they have ownership of. Imagine a new player visiting their veteran friend's house. The feeling of aspiration that new player will have. It's less about having a really cool bed in your virtual house, and it's more about being an incredible tailor who made their own bed. Blizzard have often...
Of course. Here's what they need to do. Like Garrison, you know why Garrison sucked dick? Is because you completed the whole thing. Okay, so you gotta go to level 1, and then level 92, and then now you're level 2, and you give us 5,000 gold, and you're level 3, boom, you're done. Wow, hey, thanks for playing. Oh wait, you're not anymore? Oh fuck, why do they always keep quitting on me, man? Shit. You know, like, that's what happens. Is that it happens so fucking fast. All the rank 3s for the garrisons were fucking stupid. They didn't really give you hardly anything. It didn't matter. Garrisons would have been fine if they had just made them better. But they keep pandering and catering all the fucking content, like garrisons, to the lowest common denominator of player, and everybody above that gets fucking bored. That's the issue. All they need to do is just make the game appeal to high-end players again. Make the game... Make high-end rewards. The only thing that garrisons had that were high-end rewards were monuments. Do you know why nobody cared about monuments? Because they didn't matter. They didn't matter.
Hey guys, it's Jenny, and my husband just got me the most amazing present ever. He got me an Aura Smart Frame, which actually I've been hinting at for like 6 months now. What? Ah! You got the right color too! And it comes in this perfect gift-ready box, which is really good for him because he's really bad at wrapping. And I figured that we would just go through the box together. So on this flap, it just has some really easy instructions about how to set it up. It couldn't be more simple. You literally download an app on your phone, you set up your frame, then you're good to go. So put all my wedding photos on here, and then with a simple wave of my hand, it switches from one picture to the other. I'm going to go ahead and peel this off, my favorite part, and we can set up the frame together. Alright, here we go. So, taking the frame out. It's super lightweight. It's the perfect color. I'm really proud of him for remembering that. You can swipe right or swipe left. And it goes from one photo to the other, depending on if you want to move forward with the photo or not. Oh dear. So yeah, that's the aura frame.
Like, nobody, like, they provided no bonus at all. It's a joke. You guys probably don't even know what monuments are. So let me give you a couple examples of monuments. For one, completing the Warlords of Draenor. Well, Jimmy, thank you very much. Jimmy Slime, thanks for 5 subs, man. I appreciate that, man. The completing the Warlords of Draenor Legendary Ring Quest. Here's another monument. I'm not kidding. 2,000 pet battles in Draenor. Okay? Yeah.
Quite frankly, disrespected player expression under the guise of not being gameplay, as we saw with the Garrisons. And that's totally missing the emotional space that a game like World of Warcraft builds for the classic RPG audience. Sure, the game is ran by a pack of theory crafters from the elitist jerks forum, but that's not everyone who plays WoW. Humans are emotionally driven, and those drives cannot be captured in a game of weekly to-do lists. And yeah, on that topic, guild halls, let's just do them. They're a testament to the group's achievements. That is so important. Sure, the GM and the officers in the guild, they'll have a say in its layout, but that's not a problem. Players in guilds have already opted into that hierarchy. That's not a valid reason not to do them.
I bet it is for Blizzard. I bet it's like, oh, you know, if they had a guild and the guild master wanted to build a McDonald's and the other people in the guild wanted a Taco Bell. I mean, we can't have something like that. It's going to be so confused. They're going to be so upset. They're never going to know what to do. This is, I swear to God, this is the way that Blizzard thinks. They think of basically the interaction between the two stupidest people that play their game, and they say to themselves, how can we make this as pleasant as possible? And what they end up realizing is that, you know, the best way to make the two stupidest people have a pleasant interaction? Make sure they don't interact. Just keep them apart from each other. Just don't fucking have them do anything, right? So you can never have a bad interaction if you never interact with anybody. That's all there is to it.
That is an excuse. Housing can act even as a resource sink for them. Just look at RuneScape, a game that has surprisingly well implemented housing to the point where you can actually build a dungeon in your basement. It's pretty cool. And what's great is adding to these things wouldn't be too hard. After all, the props are already being made for the game's towns, cities, dungeons, and raids by Blizzard's amazing art team. And that does make them a relatively easy thing to reward players with, providing the base system just works. So, housing, deeper classes, and revamped worlds. As for the rest, well, the dungeons and raids in the game are doing really well. I mean, I joked about some of the WoW team coming from the EJ forum a minute ago, but seriously, those guys make incredible dungeons, incredible raids, the best in the industry, and the art that backs them up is gorgeous, the music is incredible. So that stuff's actually really, really good in World of Warcraft. And then look...
And that's the thing, like the dungeons, like Mechagon and everything, like these are huge selling points of the game. Right? I mean, like these are huge selling points. This is what makes the game good. Is the raids and the dungeons. That's honestly the main positive thing that current WoW has. Like, they make incredible raids. Like, almost every single raid that they make nowadays is really, really good. Same with the dungeons, too. Game Over, I think we should have 8 subs now. I appreciate that. Thank you, dude.
Looking at patch 8.2, we already see the early hints that Blizzard are moving away from some of their RNG. But to be clear, in a WoW 2, feeling expansion, well, less RNG, gear sets, continuing the Bantha gear experiment, and continuing to have interesting gear, like what we saw with Crucible of Storms in patch 8.2.
I want more armor
slots. In this video, I've purposely shied away from specifics because the point here is pretty much that a revamp to class design and progression, combined with a revamp of world design and a level squish, as long as those things are all well integrated, plus 1 or 2 key features like housing, if that's well put together, the whole point is that would feel like WoW 2. you know, maybe put in a fresh UI, a fresh new player experience that isn't, you know, a bit rubbish, and there you go. And hey, if you want some bonuses, work in more player customization for characters. Learn from the past with things like the Mage Tower. If they get those fundamentals right,
awesome.
the right title
Mage
features,
Tower was
like
amazing.
the housing, the redo of the world, the redo of the classes, then the WoW 2, from gameplay terms and experiential terms that I think loads of people really want, it's not an impossible thing to happen. It just has to be an expansion that I suppose is emotionally in tune with its intended audience, that's paying attention to more things than just the gameplay, that's trying to realize its world, that's trying to elevate the player's own experience rather than pigeonhole the player into a bunch of pretty tightly designed weekly to-do lists. If Blizzard can do that, they seriously could turn this whole show around and really give us a few good years. Will they do it? Who the hell knows? But this is basically just what I think about the topic of WoW 2.
Who the hell knows?
Realistically, could actually be.
That's pretty accurate right there.
What is your personal WoW
pretty
team?
fucking
What
accurate.
in it? Let me know down below.
Wow.
Thank you very much for watching this video, and with that, I will see you next time.
Okay. You know, discuss this solve those problems in the game. I don't think that Ian is like the problem with the game, okay, man? I really don't. Let me see here. I actually think that sometimes WoW should feel a bit broken. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see where's this. As much as I like WoW, Asmon will pause this video 21 times. Prove me wrong. It was probably 25. Let's see. As much as I like WoW, I would spend time on it. I have a problem with the intro zones. If you look at the way the world feels right now, it's lifeless, too static. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, yeah, that's probably true, too. Patch 8.2, World of Rare Mobs. I don't think rare mobs are bad either, you know, that's fine. Yeah, rare mobs are okay, it's just that, like, everything in the game, it just feels so, it all feels the same.
Well, things are getting pretty spicy here in the second week as the post-millennial does some actual investigative journalism, something that is rare these days of people that would call themselves journalism, and it would appear that what Zoe has said about fellow video games developer and indie games dev, Alec, it's starting to look like it might be a little baloney. In fact, many of the things that were said about Alex seem to not hold water by her own words. Now, Diana Davison, someone I'm pretty sure I met in Chicago at a conference, has put out an article saying that the things that Zoe said are now falling apart. And it's interesting. Very interesting. And I'm going to link, an actual link to the actual article because, good journalism deserves credit and deserves to be shared. She also has a Twitter handle, probably worth following at D2 Davison, Davison. Give her a follow. Now, exclusive, her allegations are falling apart. Now, we all know everything that basically happened. Something was said online, and this indie game developer subsequently lost their job, lost everything they had worked for, felt in the end that they had lost too much and decided to self-check out. A decision that ultimately was their own, but the blame was shared by many. In fact, really, this is another example of the culture of cancellation leading towards somebody, suffering. Again, we don't know. We do know that the video game world, in particular the indie video game development world, is particularly close-knit. And that you don't need any evidence if you say something bad about another video game developer, as we saw in Alex's case. It was just like hashtag believe all women, and that's what they did. This tweet came out, the man's video game was canceled, his job was canceled, the man in and of himself was canceled, and eventually he self-canceled. The post originally started on August 28th, but did not specify when these things took place. So, as the article puts out, A source with access to the locked Twitter account has provided the post-millennial with important history that sheds light on the developer's time with now gone Alec. So, in August 28th statement, she claims to have been physically confined. Now, this was a big part of what was said. Basically, she had said that, I couldn't leave the house, and he would take the key, and this and that, as well as isolated from the outside world. Tweets, however, reveal a very different story, with her tweeting regularly throughout the period in Winnipeg, sometimes dozens of times a day, communicating with many others and describing her time in the city and documenting many excursions. Well, that's pretty interesting, given I thought that she was locked in the house and couldn't leave. You see lots of these tweets saying, I went to get fabric for making plushies today, and someone did this. You could see this one. It's a comedy dating game about online dating, so I ended up acting in the second act of a musical randomly today, and managed to memorize my lines somehow. Interesting day. Wow, that's interesting for somebody that's being confined to their apartment, working on hashtag It's Not Okay Cupid in a coffee place that's playing Isley Brothers and Isaac Hayes. Today is in the mood to write romance. Again, several excursions for someone who had been being confined. Now, of course, maybe this was in a period where this wasn't happening. I don't know. We don't know. Ultimately, all that this does, though, is it significantly casts doubt on some of the things that were said. They also had arranged multiple indie game meetups, appropriately named Winnipeg, in mid-April and May at Urban Forest, where up to 38 other developers were present, many of which had been with them interacting through Twitter. Okay, well, that's interesting for somebody who had been confined to their apartment as well. The couple also appeared as guests on a podcast on April 14th called Indie Function, where both discussed their projects and the subject shifted into more personal topics such as how they met and their daily lives. 30 minutes into the podcast, she discusses having met him on Twitter, direct messaging him after he first interacted and expressed interest in her projects, specifically noted how he supported the mission of, quote, having more than 5% of women having more than 5% of the industry. She calls her relationship, quote, adorkable, while being encouraged by him to talk about their project. Later in the podcast, Quinn excitedly describes day-to-day life. My life right now is I wake up, I work on a game I care about very passionately, and I pass out from exhaustion. Going on, while discussing indie game developer Phil Fish, a conversation that eerily relates to the present takes place. Quote, and that's one reasons you don't really want to be famous, because that's what happens. People basically turn you into a cartoon character. You don't get to be a person anymore, you're a concept. Quote, I'm pretty sure that I'm not well known yet because that hasn't happened to me. And I don't think that I'm in any way where I'd be characterized as one thing or another. Alex says to her statement, everyone is going to get mad and yell about something eventually and then get characterized in that way. Interesting foreshadowing from him, to be honest with you. People are fallible. People make mistakes. People overreact. People get emotional. And I've always said from Jump Street that the things that were said about any video game developer Alec could have been true. The problem is, when you share them out in the public space like that, they're just as likely to not be true, given the questionable motives of the person doing so. I've said many times, yes, of course, I support people getting justice and people treating each other with respect. But when your first act is to share something on social media, I question your motives. I think it's natural. It seems like your motive is revenge, your motive is to drag somebody. And again, just because that may be your motives, that doesn't necessarily mean what you're saying isn't true, but it just becomes much less interesting to me to take up and support you when you're acting that way. Then also, in the public statement. The biggest part was that he had taken control of her then project, It's Not Okay Cupid, the podcast, as well as her regular tweets while in Winnipeg, and after the departure, challenged that assertion. So a well-written way to say, basically, she had claimed that he took over everything and that she didn't have any power, except all these tweets seem to fly in the face of that. And we can see here in April. So this is one email from the hashtag It's Not Okay Cupid with all the choices, possibilities mapped out in one rough draft. Basically, essentially talking frequently about the project and about the things that she's doing on the project. It doesn't seem like somebody who's lost control of their game. Dozens of tweets in the post-millennial's possession demonstrate that she was routinely editing, contributing, and designing the planned game, sometimes with suggestion. Alec provided inspiration or even encouragement. Quote, when a boy game dev and a girl game dev love each other very much, they smash their heads together and a game comes out. Hashtag It's Not Okay Cupid. According to her statement, Alec also delayed purchasing Quinn's ticket home as per their arrangement, effectively trapping Quinn in Winnipeg. Now, this was one of the most ridiculous claims I've heard. I mean, it's not 1950 anymore. There's a million companies out there willing to give just about anybody a credit card. There was originally a claim that this game dev, Alec, had an agreement in place where he would fly her out, and then, or she would fly out, and then he would pay to fly her back. Whatever that was. I don't know. That was the statement. A plane ticket to fly from like Winnipeg to Toronto is nothing. It's a few $100s. Nobody seems to be questioning that. If you're in such a terrible situation, I can go online right now and go to a website and apply for 100 credit cards. And one of them will give me one, and I'll be able to buy my $300 plane ticket. Or maybe I reach out to my parents, or I reach out to a friend, or I reach out to a friend's friend. We're not talking about millions of dollars. We're not even talking about thousands of dollars. We're talking about a few $100 for a plane ticket. But apparently that was enough to leave her a nice...
What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to talk to you about one of the greatest League of Legends app there is, and one of their new...
Isolation. You can see those tweets. Now again, does that mean that, you know, a buddy didn't help her out with money? No, but it doesn't seem so escaping under the cover of night when you've got at least 10 days planning and all that kind of stuff going on beforehand. On the 28th, she also says that upon the rapid, anxious escape from these circumstances with Alec, with the help of a roommate, the man did not do so much as acknowledge the departure. But on May 4th, 2012, a tweet states that he and she were working hard to crunch on It's Not Okay Cupid just hours before the flight, entirely disproving the claim. Let me be clear about this. Diana, good job, by the way. The claim was that, you know, I had to escape under cover of night and it was all so awful. But here on the day you're leaving, just hours before you're supposed to leave, you tweet, and now I see how hard crunch can be on hashtag It's Not Okay Cupid with Alec before I have to catch a plane in the morning. Too inspired. So that tweet in and of itself also disproves that the statement that she didn't have any control over the game. This is all pretty clear to me. Interestingly, after her return to Toronto, Alec and her exchanged several light-hearted public tweets into the month of May as her work continued on It's Not Okay Cupid. You can see more games need a self-destruct button. That sounds fun as heck. Also saying, reminds me of playing Skate 2 and watching the collision and physics freak out to humorous effects or efforts. And, you know, so the conversation, at least publicly, was cordial. You were working with this person. You had time to leave. It seems like all of this whole victimhood thing is all falling apart. The last tweet shared between the two was sent on May 10th and was a single hi from her. Whether or not he responded is unknown due to the locked status of his account. Statements issued after his self-checkout demonstrate that it was well known that there were concerns about his mental condition, concerns stemming from long before her public accusation surfaced. Steve Benson, his development teammate, issued a statement after the decision to cut ties with him was made, emphasizing that he had a continual history of emotional instability and behavioral problems. Again, look, nobody is questioning that maybe Alec had his issues. And I think the biggest takeaway here, or the biggest target I have here, is not just one person. It's the cancel culture in video games and in Hollywood. As we've seen in at least more cases than not, they are thinly supported by evidence, and in many cases outright lies, as we've seen with Chris Hardwick, with oh my gosh, Andy Signor, many of the highest profile kind of cancels, Pro Jared, these all ended up just being complete baloney. Now, his sister, Eileen, in her Twitter announcement, also noted that her brother struggled with these issues, something also reiterated by Q in the August 28th statement. While it's indisputably true, as she asserts in the statement, that there is no karmic limit or for these type of things, it's also true that her statements must be given the respect they deserve and thoroughly investigated. In her case, there are undoubtedly significant discrepancies in the statement made on public on August 28th and the history that was made available to the post-millennial for review. Further, her history cannot be neglected when considering the context of these statements. Her ex-partner, Aaron Grangi, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, recently brought attention to extensive discussions between himself and her on Facebook. In these discussions, she mentions being raised by a pathological liar, having brain damage, and seeking vengeance against a game developer she once loved. The new evidence uncovered is not exculpatory. However, it does reveal that ZQ is in no way credible. And I would agree with that. This is a statement that most of us already knew, but this is just an excellent layout. And I'm not, there's definitely more to read here. I want to give people a reason to go to the Post-Millennial and read this because I think it's well put together and it paints a pretty good picture of just how ready people are in the video game industry, in the gaming world, to try and cancel. And I mean, the sad thing is, like, there's real people out there that need help, yet this person is like a black hole of goodwill on Twitter. This is somebody that has never put a single video game out in the world worth playing. This is somebody that's never added anything to society, in my opinion. This has been somebody that continues to take thousands of dollars a month to produce nothing via Patreon. This is a person that took $86,000 via Kickstarter to produce nothing, never putting out that game. This is somebody who has been a black hole of humanity's goodwill and cash money every month, yet continues to enjoy the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully this post, and if you enjoyed it, the sharing of this video and the sharing of this original article will help put a chip in that trust in the video game industry and the indie game.
The clockwork core that seals the Netherim is now stalked by a corrupted alchemist. New heroes must stand against him and save the world. Torchlight 2. Relive the glory. Now available on Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
Game development community, many game devs have reached out to me behind the scenes, rightfully afraid to speak out because they know what will happen. But I have not had a single person reach out to me to support these claims. In fact, I've had family, friends, and other people close to Alec that have more so shed more doubt on her stories, but can't share it publicly because they work in indie game development scene. Not surprised. Please, definitely before you leave this video, leave a like and a comment on it and share it out there far and wide. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, before you leave, make sure you leave a like and drop a comment on it. It's the only way to help the channel grow in today's YouTube environment. Above, you'll find a link to subscribe, and make sure you turn your notifications on, or if you just want to check out another video, there's one of those up there.
Skeletons. I hate skeletons.
Yo, New York City, no filter. Look who we ran into. We got Jimmy Jam here. Jim, what are you doing out here?
Just trying to get a couple bucks. I need something to eat, man.
You want a nice hot meal, Jim?
Yeah, please, you know.
I'm saying, what time did you get here, Jim?
I don't know, about an hour
And
ago.
how much money did you scrape up yet?
I had to get a bus fare to jump on a bus.
All right, listen, Jimmy, check this out, man. I'm gonna get you whatever you want, but I want you to do me a favor first. I want you to do a food review for me because everybody's talking about this this plant Whopper. It's a
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've seen it on TV.
You did?
It's something about a soy burger or some shit.
Well, listen, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But we're going to try it. We're going to do a little food review. After that, you can eat whatever you want, all right?
All right.
All right, come inside.
All right.
Come on. I get you whatever you want after that. But just do this food. Even if it's not good and you don't like it, you got to eat the whole thing. I want you to go crazy on it. Let's go.
Understand.
All right, let's go, Jimmy. Come on. Why didn't you call me? You don't call me on the phone no more?
I don't have a phone.
You don't?
Nope.
You don't have a phone no more, Jim?
Nope.
Come on, Jim. You don't have a phone? Huh?
No.
That's crazy. All right, listen. He just wants the impossible. You want the meal with the soda and everything?
Yeah.
All right, give him the Impossible Whopper. He's doing a food review. This is Jimmy Jam, by the way.
How you doing?
Jimmy, everybody loves you, Jim. We're gonna do a little food review. That's it.
Can I get a strawberry shake?
A strawberry shake, Jim.
Yeah.
You can't have that with the Whopper, though. Are you kidding? No? Nah, he can have it. He can have it. You can't eat that while you're eating the Whopper because the food review's strictly the burger. You gotta have it. You can't have your taste buds jumping all over with strawberry and stuff. No, he can have a strawberry shake. You gotta drink it later. Oh, you gotta drink it with? Yeah, give him a Coke.
I gotta have something to drink.
Alright.
That's it? 10:01.
10:01? Jimmy, you excited about eating a plant or what?
I'm hungry, man.
You're hungry? Alright.
Stay and take it out.
Come on, just stay. We're gonna go in the corner over there somewhere.
Well, I get ice and everything.
Don't worry, I got it for you, Jim. You're the man, Jim.
No, I ain't.
No, I'm serious, bro. You're the man. Listen, you got a nice haircut too, I see.
Yeah.
Who cut your hair?
Captain Blue.
He did?
He
Face
took
me,
me
Jim. Face me.
He took me to the barber shop.
Alright. He did?
I need a shaving head again.
Cool. Listen, Jimmy, if you don't... Here it is, Jim. Let's check it out. Hold on a minute. Oh, nice. Let's go. Come sit down with me, Jim. You got all cleaned up. I got some clothes for you too, Jim. All right? I got new sneakers for you and everything. Oh, you Jakey. Stop playing. You already got nice sneakers. You got better sneakers on than me. Come on. Sit right there in the corner. Right there in the corner so I can film you.
All right.
I got this.
On Main Street.
Where? Come on, Jimmy.
Main Street.
Let's go. No, Jimmy, come on. There you go. Here, sit right here. Look.
Where?
Right here, I want you. Come here. Right here so we don't bother nobody. Right here. Perfect. Oh, Jimmy. Hold on. Put this right here. Jimmy, listen, I know how you devour things. I want you to take it nice and easy. I know you're hungry. Try not to eat any French fries. I want you to tell me how this Whopper is. Guys, this is the impossible Whopper everybody's talking about. Jimmy Jim is starving. He hasn't had a nice hot meal in a while, but he is gonna... Jim, you gotta let it on your tongue. You can't just gum it. Jim. Jimmy, you're starving like that? You got a straw here?
No.
You didn't get a straw? Alright, just take care of the Whopper. Let me see. Take care of that Whopper, Jim. Wow. Well, let me see. Let me check it out, Jim. That looks just like a burger. How does it taste, Jim? Come on, eat it.
Tastes like shoe leather.
Jim, it tastes like shoe leather? Come on, Jim. Are you serious? Does it taste like beef or it tastes like...
Oh, it's not.
What does it taste like?
It's food.
Jim, that's supposed to be a plant. Does it taste anything like a plant?
No.
Is it close to the Whopper?
No, yeah.
It is? Wow. That's pretty good, Jim. Come on, Jim. Devour that. Come on. Let's go. Wow. So you took a bite. You said it tastes like leather. Now it tastes a little like beef.
We'll see.
Come on.
Better.
Yeah, Jim. Wow, Jim, you're a professional food reviewer. Oh my God. It's not bad, huh?
It's all right.
Try not to eat any fries, Jim.
I have to.
Yeah, you get the...
Get stuck in my throat.
Yeah, you take a sip of the soda. Take a nice little sip of the soda. You probably wanted some whiskey to wash that down, huh?
Yeah.
Nah. Jim, you gotta be straight when you do. See, when you're nice like this, look at you. You're not getting kicked out of the joint. You're perfect. I mean, come on, Jim. When you're hungry, Jim, you got my phone number. Ask somebody to use the phone. You disappear and nobody knows where you are. How the hell are we gonna feed you? Alright, easy, Jim. Finish the Whopper. We're almost done.
Trying.
All right,
man.
We're almost done here. Wow. Yo. Jimmy Jim kind of likes the Whopper. I don't know if it's because he's hungry or it's just because he actually thinks it's pretty good.
Not bad.
It's not bad, right? For a plant, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never know.
Wow, Jimmy Jim gives it the thumbs up. Give it the thumbs up, Jim. Wow. Unbelievable. And Jimmy's a very picky eater. If you saw the McDonald's video, he didn't even like the Big Mac. No, Jim, you gotta finish it.
I can't.
Come on, you gotta.
I can't.
Alright, you save it for later then? But what do you think about the Impossible Burger?
It's good.
Alright, hold this up, Jim. Hold this up. Give it the thumbs up. Give us the thumbs up.
It's awesome.
Wow. Unbelievable, Jim. That's awesome. Eat those fries. Jim, man. That was great, Jim.
Wasn't bad. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
I bet, because maybe you were a little hungry. I gotta take you on, like, when you're not really desperate for food to check it out. Jim, what are we gonna do? When are we gonna get you dentures, Jim?
I gotta go to...
We gotta make appointments for you. You gotta...
I don't know
That's
who...
the problem. You don't take no appointments.
I don't know who on the island can do it.
Listen, I got a dentist across the street on Sand Lane. They could take a look at you. You got Medicaid?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I have Medicaid for 20 years.
Alright, where's your card?
Huh?
Where's your Medicaid card? Jim, do you get food stamps?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool. You got the food stamp card?
No.
Who has it?
I lost it.
Come on, Jim. What's the matter with you? So every month you go get a new one?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Jimmy, man, you're great, Jim. Alright, listen, Jim. We're gonna end this video. Hold up the Whopper one more time, we're done. Give it a little thumbs up.
Yeah.
Say try the Impossible Burger. Tell everybody to try the Impossible.
Try the Impossible. It's impossible.
It's impossible. Alright, say goodbye to New York City.
Goodbye, New York City.
Yo, New York City, no filter. We love you guys. Show some love to Jimmy Jam and Captain Lou's channel. Also, go check out McKnight's Comedy Lounge. Love you guys.
I think if you look around at so many of the technologies that are available today, there's so many brilliant female minds that are behind it.
That's right, folks. We're looking at a commercial for a new Monopoly game. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I think you're going to like today's video.
I had to make sure that wasn't a
Back in the old days, women were in the kitchen, women looked pretty on the stage, but now, women and girls are building things.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting ready to buy this brand new Monopoly game.
What did you get there, Eva? I don't really know. Miss Monopoly.
See? You thought I was kidding about this being commercial for a board game, but it absolutely is. Monopoly is going to solve all of the world's problems and inspire women everywhere simply by playing it.
Hasbro created a game that no other game maker has ever done before. A game that features Ms. Monopoly, whose goal is to make a difference by celebrating female inventors and inspiring young entrepreneurs everywhere.
Unless those inventors happen to be male. Now, there's of course a lot more to go over with Miss Monopoly, even more hilarity. But before I get to that, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. You know, it's that time again, time for this video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. The game is already a super mega hit, a phenomenon, a blockbuster. Well, you get me. Get real, raw, dark, epic, and awesome. Raid Shadow Legends will take you to the world of dark fantasy and realism. For those of you who don't know, Raid Shadow Legends is a brand new collection RPG game that is taking the mobile gaming landscape by storm. More than 10 million players worldwide enjoyed the game in just 6 months. The game is still growing super fast, and they have huge plans of updates over the next 6 months, so there's infinite content for you to enjoy, no time to get bored. There's a new faction, a new tag team arena, and even a new clan boss you'll be able to fight with your clan mates. You can find me under the nick The Quartering, and if you're quick enough, you can also join my clan. Personally, I think the game is really polished, but you don't have to just take my word for it. With more than 300,000 reviews, Raid has almost a perfect score on the Play Store. So what are you waiting for? Seriously, you've got nothing to lose. 1, you support the channel by supporting an advertiser that has stuck by us, and the game's free to play. So go to the video description, click on the special links, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver, 1 energy refill, a full day of XP boost, and 1 free champion executioner. I'll see you in there. Obviously, the concept of Miss Monopoly is hilarious, but it gets even more hilarious. The game promotes or combats the long-debunked female-to-male wage gap. In fact, in the game, women make more money than men. One of America's most recognizable board games that nobody buys anymore, is getting an upgrade. Hasbro upgrade. Upgrade. This is just like the socialism monopoly, I think it was. It's like, this is clearly to get all the morons on Twitter to retweet it and talk about how woke it is and how totally retro it would be to play Monopoly. One of America's most recognizable board games, again, the twist: in Miss Monopoly, female players get more money. Unlike the classic game, women will collect 240 Monopoly bucks when they pass go, while male players will collect 200. That's what I call equality. The idea is to create a game where women make more than men, the first game to do so, according to Hasbro. Yeah, because it's so stupid, nobody's ever wanted to do that. Instead of buying property, the players will invest in inventions created by women. Things like Wi-Fi and chocolate chip cookies. Wow, thank God. No worries. Mainstays such as jail, luxury tax, and chance cards are still included. The announcement of Miss Monopoly comes. It's long been debunked. No serious economist takes it seriously, but people about any feminist on Twitter, including the White House during Obama's tenure, talked about this faux gender pay gap, which was quickly turned against them as it was found that, on average, women made less than men in White House positions. And watching them stretch to try and explain that was hilarious. Now, that's exactly what Miss Monopoly wants to bring to your game night. Hasbro is launching a new version of the iconic board game that celebrates female trailblazers and is the first where, quote, women make more than men. Here's an interesting question, and this is why a lot of people that think this way, to me, I don't really give them the time of day intellectually, because they're the type of people that if you spend time around them, they will actively make you more dumb. If somebody thinks this is a good idea, simply ask them, okay, you think that the gender pay gap is a bad thing. You think that, allegedly, men making more money than women in the world is a wrong that needs to be corrected. They will answer yes, of course they will. Then you need to ask them, well, why would you support a game that pays women more than men? I thought that was bad. And then simply take a step back, because their head might explode. The new game, which includes several modern updates, including ride shares instead of railroads and Wi-Fi instead of waterworks. By the way, I know what Hasbro's trying to do. They're trying to get into that sweet millennial cash. they're targeting this game to the 5 childless weirdos that live in a 1-bedroom apartment that might have $2 a week in spendable money. They think they're going to buy a board game. They're sorely mistaken. The game is for sale, of course, for just $20. Interestingly, Hasbro doesn't make the game cheaper for women. It's just a gimmick, as all of these things are, of course. Jen Boswinkle, Senior Director at Global Brand Strategy and Marketing for Hasbro Gaming, said the game is designed for today's kids and highlights a subject they may not know about yet. What? Obvious sexism? Is that something that you want to teach young boys and girls about? I mean, what does this game actually accomplish? Nothing. Now, the thing is, the game itself is not a bad idea, but for their stupid marketing ploy. Nobody in their right mind who plays this game is going to be okay with their sister getting $240 and them getting $200. No family is going to play that way. Unfortunately, this is actually a pretty good idea to educate people and have inventions and things like that. It's probably a nice little product for young females, but they ruin it by trying to inject something that will appeal to people who are on Twitter and can't even afford their game anyway. But it's getting loads of coverage. Here it is on Inside Edition. To create the first game where women earn more than men. It's funny because it says the goal, as if the goal isn't to, I don't know, call me crazy, entertain, I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, bring families together and keep family time interesting and fun. No, the goal, as stated by both of these websites, was to create the first game where women earn more than men. I wonder what the winning statistics would be. I know that's probably a spicy question to ask, but boy, it sure would make winning even better when my opponent was making 20% more money than me and they still lost. I suppose that's true. The thing is, it's a, quote, fun new take on a game that creates a world where women have an advantage often enjoyed by men. It is earned by men. Here's another helpful piece of advice. When somebody talks about the pay gap, and they'll say, women make 23 cents less, the correct term to use is earn. They aren't paid 23 cents less on the dollar, because that, my friends, is illegal. If that was true, if they were in fact paid 23 cents less for the exact same work, the exact same output, they would be rich. They would be suing every major company. And on top of that, how about you ask somebody who brings this up, if that were true, if women get paid 23 cents on the dollar, 77 cents on the dollar for doing the exact same work as men, how come every major corporation doesn't just hire exclusively women? That's what I would do. If I could get the exact same work for 30% less, why wouldn't I do it? All of this perpetuates just a horrible fallacy. It doesn't get into any real issues. It doesn't help anybody. The idea that I'm just going to pay you more because you were born a certain way doesn't help women either. You have to earn it. Just simply getting more money for existing is absurd. So not only does this game teach you to grow,
25 million years ago, a new species appeared on Earth. The great apes. They were...
Like, what the hell is going on the screen? Look at this. Asman, you gotta break down. You gotta break down what the hell, like, what is this? What's this magical palace I just stepped into, Asman? Huh?
It's not that complicated.
Squares up there. And what's way over there? What's
That's
above
a
your
rectangle.
head? What the hell's going on here, man? I mean, we gotta be concerned. I know. It's World of Warcraft. It's in our hearts as gamers, right?
Yeah, it is.
Soda Pop and Asman Gold. I see you guys. I see you there grinding.
Yep.
I mean, I see Tim the Tap Man. I don't know, like every game he plays, he's terrible in. I don't know why the hell he's grinding it. Like, what are you gonna win something at the end, Timmy? Like, what's your goal? Get 60? Whoopity boop 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 boop. If you're not the fucking first, no one's paying attention. You got it? No one cares.
Gank first, you're
I'm
last.
concerned. I gotta put a red flag up. Beep, beep. I am concerned that World of Warcraft could end our careers as streamers, ladies and gentlemen. The entire community. I'm saying it right now. Because some guy could be like this.
Wait, what the fuck?
I keep hearing about Twitch. Oh, there's Twitch. Let me go ahead and turn it on. Let's see what Twitch is all about. Alright, let me go to this stream. Okay, here. What the fuck is going on here? I don't know what the fuck's going on in this game. There's goddamn UI everywhere. There's dragons flying through clouds and fucking rainbows and shit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know. I'm out of here.
It's awesome.
No,
What
you
do
don't
mean
get
it's
my
awesome?
money. I was gonna bring a whole bunch of VCs into this business. I was gonna get a whole bunch of sponsors in this business, and you guys were gonna fucking make a lot of money, but you're not gonna get my money. I'm out of here. The hell kind of industry is this?
Oh,
see,
that's not true at all, because all the people, all the VCs, right, not Van Cleef's, venture capitalists, you know, all these guys probably played Classic WoW in college. You know, they played it. They're the one. They come to Twitch and they're like, man, I cannot keep up with this Fortnite shit, man. My kid plays this Fortnite shit. No, is my voice fucked up? Let me take a drink, okay? My voice is fine. Don't worry about it. So anyway, it's like all these VCs, all these the venture capitalist people that want to give money to people on Twitch, they see WoW and they're like, oh my god, I know what game that is. But if they see somebody playing Fortnite, somebody flossing or playing one of these other games, they're like, oh geez, that's the stuff the kids are into. If anything, it's going to be the opposite. They're going to see WoW and be like, oh my god, this is where I was meant to be. This is it. And yeah, I think it's completely different. It's the exact opposite. Like all these old guys with a bunch of money are going to see, wow, WoW's a boomer game. That's why they're going to be good, because it's slow, right? It's like, yeah, you don't have to pay a lot of attention, and you can be bad at the game and still be good at the game. That's the best part about it. Like, it's the exact opposite.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't want to see World of Warcraft. Like, I just, like, nobody wants to see it. And you're putting my career on the line.
Doc, just
I'm talking to you, Asman.
Just play.
You put my career on the line.
Just play the game. Just play the game.
A $5,000 tournament in Call of Duty's Blackout on the PlayStation 4. I've spent the past 2 hours trying to figure out how to turn on my goddamn PlayStation 4.
I've done that too. I had to look it up online. I bought it. I don't know how to turn mine on.
But here's the thing. There's a draft, so it's basically one influencer slash celebrity. Okay, just imagine if I decided to write a book about myself. I talk about all the success, baby. So there's a pool of influencers, and then there's a celebrity. Anyways, so within this pool, we get an opportunity to go out and pick one pro to play with. One professional Call of Duty pro. Playing a tournament alongside Form.
Listen. That's the whole part about me, right? The video is over about WoW. Yeah. Let's just talk about this, okay? Number one is like they come and they see this game. What is this? This is Call of Duty. I'm gonna be honest. The last time Call of Duty was good was in like 2011. Is Modern Warfare 2 was great. I bought this game. I could not play it. I don't know what it was about it. Something about it, like just literally walking around in the game gave me motion sickness. I get that some people like these Call of Duty games. I get it. But I'm sorry, man. It's just not going to happen to me, man. It's just not going to happen. Glowing weapons? No, it's just like, listen, but we can get back to play some PUBG, play some their Apex, good. Yeah, this is what we like to see. Apex is fucking great. I love Apex. Apex is amazing. Call of Duty, though, I can never get behind it. I don't know what it is about Call of Duty. I could just never, like, besides Modern Warfare 2, I could never play Call of Duty. Listen, WoW is... I think Doc has it completely wrong. WoW is the... It is the gateway to getting that money into Twitch. WoW is the gateway that's going to get the boomers and the money back into gaming. Okay, gaming right now has become more and more of a Zoomer. It's a Zoomer space. You have these gamers that are going around, and you got this kid that literally fucking plays Fortnite 15 hours a day because he wants to compete in Worlds next year. And you've got this other guy, David, who's a 33-year-old venture capitalist. And he's like, what's this Fortnite? I want to play Fortnite because I want to understand what the kids are getting into, right? He plays Fortnite, and Little Zoom pops the fuck off and kills him before he even knows what happens. Like, literally, he doesn't even know how he died. Right? He's like, I have no idea. And he sees this, like, man, well, I don't think this game's gonna last. But he comes in there and he sees WoW. And, like, yeah, the UI might be a little bit, for a first-time MMO player, yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming. But after you play the game for a while, you get to understand what the fuck it is. So, Little Zoom, well, no, it is, right? It is. Gets ganked and quits. Well, yeah, no, because you just don't play on a PvP server, right? That's simple. But, like, here's the thing, right? Heard of a game called Rift? Yeah, I did, unfortunately. And so, anyway, point that I'm making here is that these games are what's going to get the boomers and the money into fucking Twitch. Because all of these guys probably wasted their college years sitting around playing classic WoW. And then they see the game coming back, and they think to themselves, wow, this is awesome, I want to fucking play this again. And they see other people doing it, and they say to themselves, well, you know what? Why don't we try to invest...
Borderlands 3 is out in a few more days, and thus far the reviews for the game are pretty darn positive. And the main takeaway I can give from these reviews, or at least the positive ones, is that it's more Borderlands. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's more Borderlands, which is exactly what a lot of fans and a lot of players wanted from Borderlands 3, and that's what they're going to be getting. Now, there's some weird shenanigans going on with the overall reviews for Borderlands 3. Like, only a number of games media actually received early copies, and it seems only for the PC version and only on the Epic Game Store. Jason Schreier wrote in an article he highlighted Polygon, noting that 2K Games and Gearbox didn't send out review codes for Borderlands 3. Instead, they set reviewers up with new Epic Game Store accounts with the game unlocked and gave us a few warnings about the game being a work in progress. They asked us to stay away from the DirectX 12 implementation, for example, and told us that our progress in the builds may or may not carry over to the final game. So yes, an early version they're giving to games media, and again, the only versions that are actually being rated by reviewers right now is the PC version. As a result, Polygon reviewer Ben Kuchera wrote, he and some of his colleagues ran into some severe technical issues, including random crashes, and in one case, someone losing 6 hours of progress and having to start from scratch. Some other reviewers complained of technical problems, others did not. Kotaku requested access to Borderlands 3 for a review, but did not get access.
Jennifer Riley Collins is too liberal for Mississippi. She supports sanctuary cities and thinks illegal immigrants should get in-state tuition at our colleges, and opposes tougher penalties on criminals who attack police. Jennifer Riley...
A representative for 2K Games cited security concerns and told us we'd get a code for the much-anticipated looter shooter on Thursday, September 12th, the day before it launches. So my sneaking suspicion is that 2K Games only wants to give it out to maybe 15 to 20 outlets, maybe so spoilers don't get out. That's the only assumption that I can make, but it does raise a lot of red flags and questions, like how did they select these few outlets and why did they choose them? Like, I know a number of YouTubers that were, well, they pretty much were told the same thing, they're not going to be getting an early copy, which I find odd because I know a lot of YouTubers were invited to fan events from Gearbox Software to play Borderlands 3 early and get an early look at the actual gameplay experience. So my belief is that this isn't something that Gearbox Software has decided, but 2K Games, the publisher, that is handling all of the business aspect of this game. So maybe it's a strategic marketing decision, I guess. But before we proceed forward, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for more gaming news like this, and turn notifications on so you do not miss out on any new content. Now, if you check the actual reviews that have been written thus far, the most positive one that I can see comes from XGN saying, Borderlands 3 has surpassed the bar that its predecessor had set. The story is grand in scale, the humor is on point and updated in 2019, weapons are diverse, and the new Vault Hunters are unique in every way. Every Borderlands fan must pick this game up, and they gave it a 95 out of 100. Now, another review coming from Forbes, Paul Tassi, he's a big looter shooter guy. That's why I raised questions about who they chose, because I know some of these people just love looter shooters, so maybe that was part of the thought process. It doesn't really make sense. Borderlands 3 was worth the wait, and it will be a fixture in this genre for years to come. I think few fans of the last two will be disappointed when they get their hands on it at last. And Paul gave it a 90 out of 100. The negative reviews I want to highlight because there's some really odd criticism that has been written by PC Gamer, VentureBeat, and Polygon. One important thing I need to note is that it seems like in this entertainment industry, there's some really strange criticisms in reviews nowadays. Like Dave Chappelle's recent comedy special, I'm sure most of you have heard about this by now. It's offensive. That's what comedy is. And if you look back at old comedy routines from the 90s and 2000s, you're like, wow, if somebody did that today, ooh, they'd be canceled on Twitter immediately. But Dave Chappelle just does what he wants, and that's what I love about his comedy, and he's one of my favorite comedians for that reason. And his recent special I thought was amazing, but if you go to like Rotten Tomatoes, the super progressive far left reviewers really hated it, and I just think that I see a lot of that also in games media reviews. Like Far Cry 5 is a great example of that. It was set in Montana, and a lot of people were upset that it wasn't political enough and didn't give a big FU to Trump America. I guess that's what everybody expected, and a lot of reviewers like Polygon, VentureBeat, Forbes, I think even IGN, a lot of them were upset that it wasn't political enough. And I didn't care for the story, the main narrative, because it wasn't very interesting, but I don't think it would have been much better. Now, with Borderlands 3, it seems like a lot of games media is specifically taking issue with the jokes. I guess it's out of touch and offensive. That's what many of these outlets are writing. Borderlands 3 has already been surrounded by tons of controversy thus far. As most of you know, the Epic Games Store timed exclusivity deal, something controversial. And in the last few weeks, the Epic Games Store not delivering on a lot of promised features, well, that's also upset a lot of PC gamers, and for good reason. And now seeing a lot of these reviewers coming out saying that the game is having problems on PC just makes me kind of worried for release date, but we'll see. And for right now, Borderlands 3 is just a few days away, and the only reviews we have are these. But I did want to go to this PC Gamer review and talk about a few parts of it that are just really strange, and it's a really strange reason to review bomb a game. So this is what, I'm going to avoid the spoilers in this article. I don't know if it goes too deep into this, but it says, Borderlands 3 review, bad jokes clash with great guns and a looter-shooter lost in time. Borderlands 3 is the family circus by way of Spencer's Gifts, a game with long, earnest quests about how darn good coffee is punctuated by gore and gun violence. Borderlands 3 walks by dog poop and points it out and laughs and then sets it on fire. Borderlands 3 stays up until 11:30 p.m. drinking soda and googling crass flash animations, taking detailed notes. It's stuck in the late 2000s when surface-level vulgarity was enough to qualify as edgy. Borderlands 3 is seriously obsessed with turds, and when the series was first conceived, it's stuck in a time when memes lasted months rather than days, when referential humor was still a novelty and not exhausting, when you could point at something the slightest bit abnormal, gross, and call it a joke. Simpler times, not necessarily better times. And that's their main issue with Borderlands 3, and they give it a 63 out of 100. I don't understand this. It has bad jokes, I mean, cheesy humor, that's PC Gamer. That's Borderlands. I mean, is this really that surprising? Now, moving along later into this review, they bring up Tales from the Borderlands, a game not made by Gearbox Software, made by a complete different developer that actually doesn't really exist anymore, Telltale Games. Let's remember, Tales from the Borderlands is a game that, it's a different genre, and obviously it was going to have a big focus on the story, and Borderlands is really all about the gameplay. Sure, I know the lore and the story is important, but, I mean, when a lot of people are playing that, or even talking about Borderlands, they're talking about the looter-shooter aspect. Not necessarily the story first, but maybe that's just my opinion. Tales from the Borderlands proved that the Borderlands universe could balance goofy slapstick comedy with great character work, gracefully swaying between fourth wall breaking gags about video game cliches and heartfelt drama. It irreversibly changed what I expect from this series, and maybe that's your problem, PC Gamer. Really. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to go through this whole review, but I am going to go down to a few more parts, and PC Gamer writes, there's a quest gift. Giver who does their best Tommy Wiseau impression talks about making movies, which is the whole 20-minute long punchline. The joke is simply knowing who he is. Another makes fun of exploitative macro transactions. Let's get that right, PC Gamer. And buggy early access games with a boring quest that forced me to either spend in-game cash for an easy skip or perform tedious tasks. It goes on for so long that I gladly would have paid real money to skip it. Maybe that's the problem, PC Gamer, people doing that, and let's not encourage it. Like many Borderlands bits, it's a joke that could have been a 2-minute gag extended to 10 times that, and personally, I don't see a problem with any of that. That actually sounds pretty cool. Cheesy humor, that's exactly what I expect from Borderlands. Now, to the end of this review, PC Gamer writes, between the bugs, the extended non-jokes, the self-aggrandizing jabs at game design trends, and a few cameos I will not spoil, but that made me audibly groan. Borderlands 3 has a lot in common with Gearbox Gearbox fan events as of late. There's a lot of loud, extended posturing while holding what everyone really came for hostage. It's a shame because Tales from the Borderlands found a delicate balance of absurdity, self-awareness, and genuine heart. A better Borderlands is possible, it's just not Borderlands 3. And honestly, I don't know who this reviewer is, I'm not even going to look back up, but what I will say is maybe Borderlands just isn't your game, maybe you probably shouldn't have reviewed it, and maybe it's just not made for you, because that's what it sounds like here. Dumb humor, cheesy humor, bad jokes, that's Borderlands. I mean, there's a reason why Claptrap is such a big role in this franchise. Now, PC Gamer was not the only outlet sharing this same opinion. Polygon doesn't give a scored review, but it sounds like they probably would have given it right around the same score that PC Gamer did. They wrote, Borderlands 3 review, third time's a chore. When punk rock is played by dentists. Players who just want more Borderlands will likely be happy with Borderlands 3, and that's where this review probably should have just ended. The game certainly delivers more Borderlands, though not much else. Borderlands 3 is often a shadow of Borderlands 2, and more of the same is a disappointment for a franchise that used to feel so refreshing and rebellious. Now, I'm just going to say something, but where's the same energy with all the sports franchises, like NBA 2K20, which is a buggy disaster right now, and I think they even found that NBA 2K19's task button, or taskbar, icon is the same as 2K19 because lazy developer. Even Madden, I think, got caught with Madden 19 logo and Madden 20. It's like these sports franchises, they don't get the same criticism that main franchises like Borderlands get, or even Call of Duty. It's just really weird. That's just something that I wanted to point out. How that same energy all across the board, please. Through the rest of this review, I'm not going to really go over this one because it just takes issue with every aspect of the experience. Like, Polygon does not like the new villains, the Calypso twins, and they also go on about the mission design. They say it lacks creativity, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video when Jason Schreier brought it up, there's a lot of technical issues with the version that they received, although it doesn't seem like everybody's experiencing the same issues. But I will read the end of their review, which they say the franchise used to feel adventurous. Now, without any fresh ideas or concepts, it's a little more than a holdover from a different time. Borderlands 3 feels safe, oddly careful, especially for a game about anarchy, and worst of all, corporate. In all honesty, though, I kind of expected this review out of Polygon, just because I believe it was the same writer who wrote this review back when the game was announced in March. They took a very massive issue with the debut trailer. I think I actually made my own video about their article. But Polygon wrote, Borderlands 3's debut trailer may have made you happy if you just wanted new Borderlands content, and if that's the case, I'm happy that you're happy, I'm not happy. And they would go on about all the issues that they take with it. They say, there might be a jump in visual quality and an introduction of new faces while existing characters go through some sort of change, and ideally the mechanics themselves should evolve in some way. More is not a good excuse for a sequel. The best sequels are defined by a more complex word better. Well, I don't see that with sports franchises, and even some of these, Call of Duty, that's a good example, although it's advancing this year with Modern Warfare, but for the longest time it didn't, and still received 9 out of 10s every year. But yeah, the main point I want to make from this Polygon article about the trailer is just that they've been critical since the beginning, and it just sounded like they...
Let's see what the quartering has to say about it.
Uber Eats for guy. It's the Fieri Uber Eats.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy from the Quartering, and Friday, Borderlands 3 will release. One of the most highly anticipated games, will probably set all sorts of records in terms of sales, and is one of the most anticipated games of the past few years, second only maybe to Cyberpunk 2077, but you could also argue that the Borderlands community is simply much larger and will sell many million copies, and probably already has. But the reviews have started to float out, and there's been a few curious outliers that I think is worth exploring. When we look at the Metacritic score for Borderlands 3, it's sitting at a healthy 85. Now, you've got some bizarre websites giving the game 94, 95. I'd say, based on what I've read about the game, that's inflated. There are some very real technical problems with the game that reviewers have faced. I saw multiple reviewers talk about it. I think if a game has technical problems, including one that caused one reviewer to lose 5 hours of progress in the game, I can't imagine giving something like that anything above a 9, just simply because these things need to get cleaned up before launch, unless, of course, I was on the tape. Most of the main outlets you see are in the 90s, the 80s, with IGN, Forbes, Vandal, Destructoid, all giving it 90%. Then you drop down to Game Informer, Us Gamer, GameSpot, all giving it 80s, which is still a reasonable score. Then you start to see something interesting here. PC Gamer gave it a 63. Interesting. Now, you also see the Polygon review here, and it seems like two of the most, I would say, sensitive video game news outlets out there. Places like Polygon. Kotaku has not received a review copy, so I expect their review to be equally offended. But Polygon is out there. Now, they don't put a score on the reviews, but I think overall they gave the score a middling review. I wouldn't say it's necessarily negative, but their headline certainly indicates it is. Borderlands 3 review, third time's a chore. When punk rock is played by dentists, they talk about, yes, Borderlands franchise, some of the things that they liked, some of the things they didn't like, but they talked about the game in a negative light, in the fact that many of the tasks in the game were tedious. Many of the missions are bland to a baffling degree. One early quest asked me to rescue someone from a virtual reality chamber, which makes me excited about seeing VR in a Borderlands game. That's going to be creative and interesting, right? I'm going to see some wild stuff, and I'm in here, and I'm here for it. Turns out that VR just means a green filter is placed over everything. I finished the mission in the same area I started in, except catching everything's now less vibrant and interesting than it was a minute ago. They also talked about new Borderlands without much new. Summary. Borderlands 3, if it works well at launch, is a competent game, that doesn't sound very optimistic, that feels like a passable continuation of the franchise instead of an evolution. Now, most sequels, I think, you could call a success if they just do that. You have a huge built-in audience that wants more Borderlands. This is a huge problem I see a lot of times with sequels where they go out there and try to be too different, forgetting that 80-90% of their existing audience just wants more or a continuation. It's the same general idea with new Vault Hunters, but with little joy and danger I fell in love with in the earlier entries. The franchise used to feel adventurous, now without any fresh ideas or concepts, it's a little more than a holdover from a different time. Borderlands 3 feels safe, oddly careful, especially for a game about anarchy, and worst of all, corporate. Yikes. Yikes. This is, while it seems clear you're getting a remaster, nothing more, it's something else entirely. If one can say it about Modern Warfare, I think that's talking about. I think that most hardcore fans of Borderlands 3, even if this review comes across as negative, will still see the game as a positive, because if it's just more Borderlands, that's what you want. And ultimately, I think as a game developer, you don't necessarily view that as a wildly positive type endorsement. It's just more of the same. But your customers may be pleased by that, and ultimately that's all that matters. We'll have to wait to see what the general consensus is for Borderlands 3 on Friday, but it's really interesting to me that there are some wild technical issues still going on just a week before launch. Now, to the PC Gamer review. 63. Borderlands 3 review. Bad jokes clash with great weapons and looter shooter lost in time. Borderlands 3 is the family circus the family circus by way of Spencer's Gifts. Game with long, earnest quotes about how darn good coffee is punctuated by all sorts of other things. Borderlands 3 walks by dog poo, points at it, laughs, and then burns it. Borderlands 3 stays up till 11:30 p.m. drinking soda and googling crass flash animations, taking detailed notes. It's stuck in the late 2000s. When surface-level vulgarity was enough to qualify as edgy, Borderlands 3 is seriously obsessed with poop, and the series was first conceived. It's stuck in time, when memes lasted months rather than days, when referential humor was still novelty and non-exhausting, when you could point at something, the slightest bit abnormal, call it gross, call it a joke. Simpler times, not necessarily better times. Our distance from the era Borderlands 3 evokes makes me feel like a retro game rather than alive and present in modern humor and pop culture. It's simultaneously repulsive and compulsive, an FPS RPG that excels when its weapon generation system spins out weapons that feel great, adorned with broken attributes, capable of turning hordes of goons and bugs and soldiers into a cloud of red mist, elemental particles, explosions, and big damage numbers. Now, it's interesting to me that you would review the game so poorly based on just your opinion of the humor. We need to see more about the technical issues. I mean, for a 63, that's a pretty low score. If it's all about the humor, you're talking about here several paragraphs so far in about the humor. Tales from Borderlands prove that Borderlands universe could balance goofy slapstick comedy with great character work, gracefully swaying between fourth wall breaking gags about video game cliches and heartfelt drama. Borderlands 3 opts for a best approach something like a sitcom clip show. The new space travel setup takes the player on a tour of the galaxy in search of yet more vaults. Each stop is an excuse to roll out an old character, only for them to disappear and fade into the background as soon as they say hello. You're talking about the new big bads. The Calypso twins are bad-behaving live streamers whose motives and histories only become clear in the final act. Until then, they're just two cartoon villains who take up beef with the Vault Hunter, looking to open the same vaults and collect power within. There's not much more besides the obnoxious monologues about how much I suck. Even as a parody of live streamers, they offer no cultural commentary. They're just bad, power-hungry people who would do anything to rule the universe. Glimmers of heart are buried deep. I dug cute relationship between Sir Hammerlock, a charming interplanetary big game hunter, and his new boyfriend on Eden 6. Well, gee, I wonder why that appealed to you. It's interesting that you mentioned that as an important plot point of a video game. It's thus far you said, the game sucks except for these two dudes that are dating. I like that part. So we know what lens you're looking at. It's so funny to me. Like, none of this is about gameplay. This is the new video game Urinalist. This is a parody of that. Now, when almost everybody, we've got 17 reviews in, and when almost everyone, 18, is giving it universally above average scores, you've got to stand out, right? You've got to be that guy that writes the clickbait. And ultimately, that's what this article is. You have, just loose complaints about the game. You do have some good parts here in terms of, besides a few tough bosses, the true challenge came from deciding whether to shelve this weapon for that weapon. That's also part of the looter shooter variety, always deciding between what's best for that position. I'm partial to these things, and we go on to talk about that. As expected, it's better with friends, though extra enemies and explosions weren't counter to the refinement. So, with so much visual noise against a mess of flat colors and thick lines, I often can't see what I'm pointing at, making well-aimed critical shots an act of faith rather than intent and skill. That's a fair criticism. However, that is kind of what Borderlands has always been. Borderlands 3 new Vault Hunters don't break much new ground either, while they each have 3 diverse skill trees and accompanying action-perfect skill squads looking for complement one another. There's nothing in combat that requires close cooperations between classes as of yet. The inclusion of some context-sensitive ping tools, calling out targets, and pointing out loot locations is easy. Maz summons a mech for some ridiculous damage dealing. Mars is a siren with ghostly arms and control for crowd control and AoE attacks, while Zane can summon a drone. I spent most of the time as Flak, imagine my shock, a robot with a pet companion, great option for solo players. I did this for about 30 hours. By the way, I'm hearing the game has between 30 and 40 hours of main campaign gameplay. That's pretty good. Some people do have this kind of like aversion to longer gameplay. They want 10 to 15 hours, but not for me. If I'm spending $80 on a game, to get 30 hours of gameplay, to me, feels like a good value. Once I finished the campaign, swept up a majority of side quests, I hit level cap in something like 30 hours of play. When the NPCs quit talking and the focus returned to the running hordes of enemies and finding more efficient weapons, I settled into a comfortable routine and remember why I have hundreds of hours logged into Borderlands 2. The clouds of red mist and particle effects returned, the numbers grew, and so did my heart. The endgame had arrived. Sadly, the endgame was pretty shallow at launch. It's all about accumulating better loot, but I'm a bit backed into a corner. Mayhem mode modifies enemies. The alternative is True Vault Hunter. Between the bugs, extended non-jokes, self-aggrandizing jabs at game design trends, and a few cameos, I won't spoil, but it made me audibly groan. Borderlands has a lot in common with Gearbox fans as of late. There are a lot of loud, extended monsters while holding on to what everyone really came for as hostage. It's a shame because Tales from the Borderlands found a delicate balance of absurdity and self-awareness and genuine heart. A better Borderlands is possible. It's just not Borderlands 3. 63%. And if you read the summary, bugs, reasonable, and I read about this in multiple reviews. The extended non-jokes, okay, you didn't like the jokes. I don't know if that's worth dropping it, all the way down in the 60s. Self-aggrandizing jab at game design trends. So again, you don't like jokes. A few cameos I won't spoil that made me audible groan. Okay, so you didn't like cameos. I mean, there's very few gameplay critiques in here that I would say warrant a negative score. In fact, when you're talking about 30 to 40 hours of main campaign mode right out of the gate, that seems like a plus. Now, the jokes can be cringy at times, but that's kind of Borderlands anyway. I mean, I can't imagine the actual Borderlands fandom being upset about this. I mean, there's a few people out there like VentureBeat. I'm surprised Dean Takahashi didn't write this. But Borderlands 3 review. Fun action, but some yucks are too yucky. So people don't like the humor? I mean, maybe you're just not in tune with it, I think. Borderlands does have kind of its own unique feel. Gearbox's approach to humor comes off like an 80s teen comedy. It hasn't aged well, and at times I found it offensive. In my review, I find the game that performs well on PC. It's still a good-looking art style. Some of the yucks weren't so yucky. Okay, so the gameplay feels good. You like the weapons, fun payoffs, character progression, solo play. These are all positives. Farscape feeling. Here's what you won't like. Familiar feeling. I disagree with that. Most people that are buying Borderlands 3 want it to feel familiar. If you wanted a different game, you'd buy The Division 2. Or you'd buy something else if you like this genre of game. Some humor misses. I'm old, tired man. I admit that some jokes and other tomfoolery in Borderlands 3 may not be for me. I get tired of it quick. One side quest is about Battle Royale in which you get a set of tokens in order to win a night with a leech known as Kilovolt, who croons about the pleasure he's promising at the end of the quest. But your goal is to gain a special set of batteries that neuter Kilovolt so you can end him, which as you do. Moxie, one of the supporting characters who reminds me of innuendo-spewing refugee from designing women, throws out taunts about his lack of prowess. It's just tired, especially coming off allegations. Oh my god, we've got our first Mr. Drumpf. You're bringing up a Drumpf reference in your review of Borderlands 3, Jack Wilson. This is why you write for VentureBeat, not exclusively games. This is why you don't resonate with actual video game players. One line insulted me. I think it was a throwaway comment from a psycho as you end it, but when I ended it, said I wanted to live in a more civilized age. No more wire hangers. I took this as a reference to what? Roe v. Wade? Get out of here. I almost can guarantee you that's not what the reference meant. Look how woke Gearbox is, forcing people to use they, them for flag. I don't believe that it's... oh, here we go. After publication, Borderlands 3 co-writer Sam Winkler clarified the reference. Fair review, I'll note that the line you mentioned is actually two different lines. Civilized Age line is a randomized battle call-out, and the no wire hangers is a line scripted reference to Mommy Dearest. So, exactly. I don't know why your mind would go straight there unless you have TDS. And then a 77 out of 100 is probably a fair score. I don't think they marked it down that bad, but you can see where their head's at in terms of the reviews. So it would appear Borderlands 3 is offending some people's delicate sensibilities. That's probably a good sign for Borderlands fans. And it'll be interesting to watch as more reviews roll out. 2K Games has been particularly stingy with review codes. And to me, 2K Games has burned a lot of bridges in terms of going after that content creator and obviously everything that they did with NBA 2K20. There's a lot of reasons to not be happy with 2K Games and Gearbox, and also Randy Pitchford as a human being isn't the best. But most hardcore Borderlands fans don't care about any of that, and maybe they shouldn't. Just enjoy your Borderlands game, I guess. Seems like the reviews are pretty solid, so have fun if you're going to play it. If you're waiting to get it somewhere else other than the Epic Game Store, then it seems like the game might be in better shape then. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, before you leave, make sure you leave a like and drop a comment on it. It's the only way to help the channel grow in today's YouTube environment. Above, you'll find a link to subscribe, and make sure you turn your notifications on, or if you just want to check out another video, there's one of those up there too.
crap. I seppuku'd myself. Feels bad. Yeah? Probably. It depends. It's what everything's what you make of it, you know? Just think, eventually you get to work. Hacker been building. Dude. I wonder how he has the time to do that. How long did that take? Why are you excited to go back to, finish up here? I think a lot of people are probably gone from Twitch due to, cool stuff for a while there. 14 hours? Right? When Minecraft is life. Oh, this was Club's thing. It's lost.
Getting demonetized. No.
I'm mad if they actually added Rudo. Ooh. Mountain Fortress. How so? Like dwarfs diggy diggy hole? We are dwarfs and we are digging a hole? Bruh. Who was creating a dwarf fortress? You sure you don't want Naruto? That's literally like, isn't a mountain just an angry, isn't a volcano just an angry hill? Are children actually small, or are they just far away? Literally the stupidest lyrics of any song I can think of. I mean, there is several like that, you know? Hasn't there been like numerous Naruto games? The fact that Terry got in was a big thump. What? Place blocks? They're saying if I place blocks into it, into the empty. Okay. I need that. Really messed up my plan to build down, honestly. Aw, blast. Feels good, man. Elite water. Who needs that, right? Water, damn. Oh yeah? You found the Mallory biome? Mallory found some really like mega biome. He probably found the one that I was in. I had to guess. Skadoodle. Your deals. Oh. I thought you were saying deals. Hey Shockwave, do you like Warhammer Cold War?
rated the channel with 14 viewers. There you go. Hey, thanks for following Lord Booty hashtag. Murloc, dude. Murloc